This video is on the objective identify dependent samples versus independent samples. And this is the second video on this objective, or a question from your homework related to this objective. Hopefully you saw the first one. And this is really just a matter of understanding what the words dependent and independent mean. Alright, two samples are independent if one sample has no effect whatsoever on the other sample. Right? They are independent of one another. Whereas, two samples are dependent if there is some sort of effect or link between the samples. Right? So here's this question. Again, if you're unfamiliar with the topic, want to see more about it, click on More Instruction. Let's look at their videos, their notes, their examples, and hopefully those help. So here, a magazine would like to determine how long it takes people to solve the crossword puzzles included inside their magazine. The magazine creates two samples to conduct the study. Are the samples dependent or independent? Well, that's not really a lot of information. They are not saying how the samples are taken. They're not telling you, they're taking a sample of people who do their Monday crosswords and a sample of people who do a different sample of people who do their Monday crosswords and then compare the times or different days. They're not giving me anything here. So there's no way I can tell if these samples are dependent or independent without more information. All right. Maybe these samples have the same people in them. Maybe they're linked in some way. They might be dependent. But maybe these samples have totally different people in them and are not linked in any way and they're independent. Again, not just saying that there are two samples here is not nearly enough information to state whether or not they're independent or dependent. So I wouldn't say this, that they're independent. I can't tell. All right, I cannot tell. Again, just saying you have two samples is not nearly enough information. The samples are dependent because the people in the study are not randomly selected. It doesn't say that. It just says it creates two samples. It doesn't even say how they're created. So I can't say this. The samples are dependent because the people in one sample can affect the amount of time the people in the other sample complete the puzzle. I don't know, maybe. Depending on, again, they don't tell me anything about this study. So of all these choices, I would say the last one. And we'll see if I'm right or not. All right, let me click on the instructor cheat thing, see if I'm correct. Hey, all right, yeah. Just saying that there are two samples in the study doesn't mean it. It doesn't help you in determining if they're dependent or independent. So again, none of these make any sense because they don't give me any information. So I would say the fourth one here, not enough information is provided to determine independence. All right. Now again, if they actually described how they took the samples, what they were consisted of, and how they conducted the study, then I could tell. Do these samples affect each other or not? And if they affect each other or have some sort of link in some way, then they'd be dependent. And if they have no link and they wouldn't affect each other, the times for the people in the first group have no effect on the times for the people in the second group, the way they're conducting the study, then they'd be independent. And again, you got to really get more information out of this. How were the samples collected, and how is the study conducted? You need that information as well in order to determine independence or dependence. See, it is unknown how the samples were constructed. Right, to determine whether the samples are dependent or independent, it is necessary to determine if one of the samples can be affected by the other. Right? Are the same people solving the crossword puzzles across multiple issues? Or are different groups of people solving one puzzle? Until these types of questions, how they're conducting the study, how the samples are constructed, until that information is known, independence cannot be determined. Right. Okay, so again, I'm only doing a couple videos on these. Again, this should be a pretty, I'm hoping a relatively simple objective. You know, once you know how the samples are collected, you know how they're conducting the study. Do the samples have some sort of relationship, some sort of link, some sort of dependence, or not? Do they not affect each other? And that's really, again, going to be, you're going to be doing these, up to you to determine. All right, so hopefully listening to me here, reading your answer explanations when they come up, looking at the more instruction if necessary. Hopefully all this stuff helps you out when you're working on this material on your own. And thank you for watching.